Welcome to everyone here in person today and everyone who is visiting our service with the help of modern technology. The UU Fellowship of Lake Norman is an open and inclusive congregation. Our members walk diverse paths to find meaning and purpose, but we're united by our belief in the inherent worth and dignity of all, and by the responsibility to express our faith through acts of justice and compassion. My name is Harvey. I've been a UU forever, and I learned I was a UU when I joined this congregation in 2019. It's not that funny.
Somebody said right after the war.
Yeah. Our speaker today is Reverend Pat. He'll talk about light, and a musician again is Mike. Oh, thank you, Mike Alecki. Opening words. No, chalice lighting. We can read together the words in this chalice in the service.
Like this flaming chalice to illuminate the world we see. In our search for truth, may we be just. In our search for justice, may we be loving. And in loving, may we find peace.
Our opening words can be found if you Google, how many Unitarians does it take? Now, I looked at this online and it's not sourced. I don't know where it came from. It's not on the UUA website, but out of the ether has come these words. How many Unitarian Universalists does it take to change a light bulb? We choose not to make a statement either in favor of or against the need for a light bulb. However, if in your own journey you have found that light bulbs work for you, that is fine. You're invited to write a poem or compose a modern dance with your light bulb. During Sunday's service, we will explore a number of light bulb traditions, including incandescence, fluorescence, three-way, long life, and tinted, all of which are equally valid paths to luminescence.
Mike, centering music.
Oh, century.
So I texted Regina. I told her to watch the broadcast if she and Larry are available. This is, I got it. Okay, I'm getting direction here. This is one of Regina's paintings. Not all of you know that Regina is a sky artist. Her vanity plate on her car reads Sky Artist. And the reason I brought it is because I think it's such a wonderful example of how, no, that's not going to work, of how you can use light. The light in that painting is so beautiful. The light that we see by is so beautiful. In the 119th Psalm, the 105th verse, and let me say for the record, I did read the previous 104 verses to find it. We read about a word that is a light, which shows us the right path. If we get nothing else from the ancient Hebrews, the promise of a guiding light is maybe enough to get us from the cradle to the grave without doing much harm. What is that word? The ancient Hebrews also believed the universe had been spoken into being. Modern astronomers tell us a Big Bang spoke the universe into being. Either way, these beliefs about the power of words ought to get our attention and draw them to us this afternoon. What is that word? There is a woman who is part of our congregation in Forest City, All Souls Community, a small group that meets twice a month. Her name is Mandy Vogel, and she calls herself one of my daughters because we have known each other since she was 8 years old, and she's acquainted with several of my children. During a recent gathering of our folks, she said she looks for the light. As we are living through dark times of war, and Hal, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your stone you put in for Gaza. As we are living through dark times of war and toxic politics, I guess I have to tell y'all what that is. She said she looks for the light which she finds in the nonprofit organizations that feed people, provide clothing through vast thrift stores, and help keep the lights on for poor people. There are 16 food pantries in our county, and a number of congregations cook and serve free meals. These are lights for Mandy, and they are lights for me, and I'm sure they're lights for many of you, especially as you know the lights we find as we build dog fences, serve at FeedNC, greet asylum seekers at the bus station, do the anti-racism work of unity and community, express our solidarity with both the Jews and the Muslims of our communities, march in pride parades, and show solidarity with LGBTQ plus people, especially young people, by allying ourselves with Stephanie Klein in Mooresville. And it's so nice to have Autumn with us today. Autumn is the reason we know about Stephanie Klein and the reason we know about the LGBTQ young people in Mooresville. Nice to have us with you. And who's that girl you got with you? The list goes on and on. All this activity and the congregational life that supports it, all of it is a light for us to see by. Got two Barefoot Mile people over here. But activity, is that the word that brings the light? Think for just a moment about the extraordinary thing light is. Look at the light in this room. Because there are so many windows, at least some of this light is from the sun, 93 million miles away. But we also have electric lights, thanks to Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla, and all those dreamers and inventors and engineers and frontline workers who put material to those dreams. Thank goodness for the folks in the bucket trucks who show up when the lights go out after a storm. Look at this room. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? The color, the light. And aren't we grateful to the Quakers who changed the light bulbs? I can't remember where the Quakers are on that list, but when the question is asked of the Episcopalians, they say it takes 3. 1 to change the light bulb, and 2 to talk about how much they like the old one. And some of you will remember the story about the old man who came down out of the mountains when he heard his church was going to buy a chandelier. He wasn't a very frequent attender at church, but he showed up in his bib overalls and he got up in front of the church. George Boehm already knows the joke. And he got up in front of the church and he said, I'm going to tell you 2 reasons we don't need to buy a chandelier. First of all, there's nobody in this church who knows how to play one. And secondly, we ought to spend the money on a nice light fixture. As amazing and as exhilarating as physical light is, right this minute, right here, right now, the light that Mandy was talking about is a far different light. You know this, you understand this, but in the great tradition of all preachers, I'm going to belabor the point. We are living through dark times, and you don't have to be struggling with clinical depression to sometimes wonder what will come of all this pain and suffering. All this inhumanity and the toxicity in our public life. I really ought to read these things out loud before I come over here. You will remember that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred will not drive out hatred. Only love will do that. Love is a mighty good word, but is it the word that gives us light to see by? It may be in part. It may if we expand how we use the word. Here are a few examples. Love of life. Sometimes just waking up in the morning and getting out of bed is an opportunity to fall in love with life. Yes, I'm up. I'm moving. Many of us have come through illness. Getting well is so wonderful. Oh boy, I'm not sick anymore. I'm alive. We will send that blessing out to Larry and Regina and to anybody else who needs it this morning. Ms. Grimm. Love gets muddled by our culture, which tends to sell the idea that we're only talking about romantic love or love of family. But there are so many other kinds of love which can bring the light. The 119th Psalm from the Hebrew text is a plea to be changed by love, to have so much love pour into us that we can only pour it back out through service, kindness, generosity, faithfulness to the way of the ancient Hebrew. That sentence is so beautiful, I'm going to read it again. The 119th Psalm from the Hebrew text is a plea to be changed by love. To have so much love poured into us that we can only pour it back out through service, kindness, generosity, faithfulness to the way of the ancient Hebrew. While I struggle with the darkness, I sent out about 20 emails to some of you and other friends who lift me. One response came from the friend I told you about a few weeks ago who gave $3,000 to Blue Ridge Hope. He's not a Christian or a Jew. He turned to the words of Moses coming from the burning bush. He said his light is, I am that I am. One light that never goes out, never starts, never ends. Our own Agnes Fiora found light in anticipating a visit from her daughter and her family. Susan Cameron also responded, and I'm going to share more of her response as our closing words today. But she did mention, in the spirit of the UU Animal Ministry, that her lights have 4 legs. What other words might give light to our paths from the I am that I am, the ineffable oneness that neither began nor ends, the eternal flow at the center of all life, at the subatomic vibration of every bit of matter, the oneness through which everything comes and lives and breathes and has meaning? Meaning? Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, is a book that has sold 12 million copies since its publication in 1946. Although it was written after he survived the Holocaust, it is not full of heartbreaking details of that horror. It is mostly about his finding that people who survived did so through having meaning in their lives. So maybe meaning is one of those words that is a light unto our paths. We have just been reminded of the Holocaust during the current heartbreak in southern Israel and Gaza. In fact, just yesterday, there was a Holocaust remembrance event. It is good that we remember, even as Viktor Frankl showed us a clear path to survival in the light of his word, meaning. Since Agnes and Susan, like Agnes and Susan, family was paramount for many survivors. Many people survived the Holocaust because of their families. They wanted to get back to siblings or spouses or parents. Some wanted to finish a degree. Others wanted to finish writing a book. They had meaningful goals and they kept light before them even in these darkest times. Meaning is definitely one of those words. Okay, let's quit. And Andy Abrams said we're not going to have a talk back today because of the football game. But maybe we can have just a little talk back. But listen to this list of words: family, love, meaning, generosity, kindness, empathy, active listening. Share with the rest of us what might be a word that would be a light on your path. And please, just in case Regina is watching from home, please come up here to share during the talk back and use the microphone. Right here is the microphone. What words bring you light?
Well, Pat, you light us up.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. This comes from a guy who's been a Unitarian since 1919.
Just after the war.
Mine is probably hope. In the Piedmont church, there was an older Black lady who came to speak with us, and she used hope as a verb. And she spoke about, particularly when you were feeling like you didn't have much power. And for me, that manifests as depression. But she said, you got to go hope somebody and, just get out there and do something for somebody else and get outside yourself and, hope somebody.
I love it.
Yes. You go, Pat, I'm gonna violate my own rule. How's
There
that?
you go. You all missed any of the ball game.
Yeah, that's right. Blame it on me. You know, I started reading Louise Penny when we were up in Canada. And there were, if you like, murder mysteries. Those were always interesting. But one of the things that she said that subsequently I've now seen coined elsewhere, which means she probably lifted from someone else as well. And that was the idea of it's the crack that lets the light shine in. And for all of us, whether it's political, whether it's personal, this notion that we're going to go through life without cracks is not going to happen. And the ability to see it for what it is and embrace it in some sort of fashion, that it really is, the light is there. And sometimes it takes that crack for us to fully appreciate what it means. So I'll offer that up.
Yeah. Mike, what's the Leonard Cohen quote about cracks letting the light in?
Oh, I don't have it in my head right now.
Yeah, but it's pretty close to what Andy just said, isn't it? Yeah.
So, like a lot of you men, whenever I think of my daughter or see her, it lights up my life.
Yes.
Humor, and especially humor in face of tragedy or worry or something bad coming up. Your story about the woman going in to have the thing reminded me of what my sister said when she found out she had 4th-stage cancer. She says, at the funeral, I want you to stand behind the casket, grab the flowers, throw them in the crowd to see who's next.
Well, this is pretty trite, but it's, for me, it's community, but community in a very wide sense. We are a community, but to me, it's the community of all human beings. And one illustration of that is that I love to talk to strangers. My mom never told me not to, and I think I've told you that already. And it got on my nerves. Every time we would go out and somewhere, she'd start talking to strangers and I would roll my eyes. And now I do exactly the same.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. When my number 2 son was 4 years old, we had another 4-year-old staying out after kindergarten with him in our house. And we had a childcare person there, and she lost these boys. 2 4-year-old boys just suddenly disappeared. So she was looking high and low for them, and she looked out the front window, and they were down at the highway trying to stop traffic. Thank goodness they failed, but the child care worker walked up to them very gently and said, "What are you boys doing?" And they said, "We're trying to let these people know that we don't get in the car with strangers." Anybody else? Light.
Thank you, Pat. Where's Mike? Here.
Eddie, do you have a harmonica?
I do.
You have A?
I do.
You have A? You have A on mine?
He has A and he has A.
And it's not in the key of G.
It's, keep back a second. This is this will be the second George Harrison Beatles song I'm going to play today. I'm just going to play a different song, but I figured this song about light, everybody knows, and we can sing along. Here comes the sun.
I know.
Wishful thinking, maybe it will come out. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's all right.
Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Little darling, I see the smiles into their faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. It's alright.
Put it in the spot. We'll do that one.
This fellowship is important to all of us. The contributions we make today allow us to sustain and grow our congregation and reach out to our community, both nearby and in the larger world. Yet your giving affirms our commitment to each other and to the community. With grateful hearts, we receive these gifts. May they encourage us to live lives of integrity, compassion, and peace. Please look in the order of service at our announcements. Is there dinner tonight?
Fusion Bowl and Cornelius.
All right.
Please let me know if you're going.
And what's the movie on Tuesday?
Same one.
Oh, it's a French movie, The Anatomy of a Fall. It's in French with subtitles, but it's been nominated for an Oscar.
And you can see where the next fence build is. And our next opportunity to grill, bake, flip, and serve will be Tuesday, February 18th. To join our excellent and intrepid crew, please contact Jim Arnold. And there's his email address. Our closing song today is This Little Light of Mine, number 118.
Eddie, you got a G? G for gun.
He knows I got the G.
That's the first one you buy when you play the harmonica. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Shine, Eddie. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Eddie. Our closing words come from Susan Cameron, our newly minted grandmother. And be for sure that Parker is lighting up her world right now. She said his face is getting fuller. She wrote, "Light is born out of fellowship, out of working together on a common worthy task. Light is the smile a stranger gives you for no reason at all." Strangers. Light is the beauty that lies in nature all around us. The beach at sunset can be a spectacular sight, but even the littlest things that catch your eye can bring light to the soul. Edison and others who sought to enhance the light nature has provided us didn't really ruin anything. Think of the miracles of being able to see microscopic creatures we would never see in natural light. What strobe light technology has done to give us stop-action views of things like a drop of milk falling. Think of the wonders that telescopes like Webb and Hubble have done to enhance the way too far, too faint light in our universe. Light has been used to elevate our understanding to a whole new, wondrous level.
We'll now extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of command. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Have a great week. Go Ravens and
Easy oven nachos.